Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg.
The future for lecturers at the University of Montana is once again uncertain after a draft of a letter indicates no contracts will be renewed following the spring semester. MTN's
Eric Clemens spoke with a member of the UM's faculty union and now joins us live with what this could mean for the university. Eric?
Jill, Dennis, this letter has not yet been sent out, but if the current draft is any indication, UM administrators are taking drastic measures to make ends meet. University leaders have been working for some time to slim the budget, but faculty union leaders worry this is not an appropriate action and could end up hurting the school more than it helps. The current draft of a letter from University of Montana administrators indicates that the school is preparing to eliminate wholesale the position of lecturer from the school as it currently exists. Instead, the school would hire adjuncts to fill the role. The decision could impact as many as 35 lecturers. This would allow the school more flexibility in hiring, as year-long contracts would no longer exist, and teachers would be hired on a class-by-class basis. UM Faculty Union spokesperson Lee Banville worries this could drive away quality professors.
I think what it means is if you're a good one, you're going to leave. And really, when you look at who these people are, you know, the people like Gary Kerr, or Robert Stubblefield, or Josh Slotnick from the Peas Farm, these are like institutions within the institution, and they are like part of the reason a lot of kids come here. So the experience of undergrads is going to be really damaged by this.
Banville worries this decision could have long-lasting and far-reaching consequences for the school.
These are decisions that will change the way that the university operates. It will change the kinds of people who are teaching here and, you know, the kinds of people we attract in the future.
A key issue for the faculty union is the speed with which this decision could be made and the apparent lack of transparency that went into the process.
For it to be made essentially quite suddenly and without any input from, I mean, they didn't talk to the union at all about this. You know, it just seems like we're back to where we were, you know, 5 months ago, where I thought maybe we were going to actually have more of a working together thing, but that appears not to be the case.
Now, again, this letter has not yet been sent out, and as a draft, it could change before it is sent out. Banville expects something substantial to happen by early next week at the latest. UM officials have not yet released a statement regarding this letter. Dennis?
Thanks, Eric. We'll continue to follow this story. If the contracts are not renewed, those positions, about 35 of them, could be eliminated by next May. Faced with a growing problem of people living in recreational vehicles in city right-of-way, the Missoula City Council is considering whether to adopt a ban against urban camping.
Some of these folks are creating noise and creating other disturbances that are of issue for neighborhood stability, and of course we're talking about parking in the right-of-way, so we're always concerned about the safe movement of traffic.
While staff told the council this morning that 99% of people caught illegally in RVs parked in the city right-of-way will voluntarily leave, they say the city needs a specific ordinance to deal with the real problem cases where people refuse to go. The proposal would leave exemptions for limited RV parking outside a host's home or for people staying for sporting and other special events. Council members support the idea of a tool for police and code compliance officers, but they want to proceed carefully so it doesn't criminalize the homeless.
There's obvious public safety issues involved with, you know, people disposing of human waste and gray water in the right of way, but then there's also the homelessness issue, and it's all connected as a big problem.
City Council has scheduled a public hearing for December 18th.
The numbers are staggering. 36 fires that burned thousands upon thousands of acres on national forests in Montana and northern Idaho.
As MTN's Russ Thomas reports, the result of all those fires, the implementation of a new post-fire recovery plan.
The summer of 2017 brought one of the hottest and driest fire seasons on record in the northern Rockies. Regional Forester Leanne Martin saw the need for an accelerated approach to recover the post-fire landscape. The result is a regional post-fire response incident management team.
The regional forester has established a team that's patterned after an incident management team that you would have during a fire. So that allows us to really be focused and to bring a lot of additional resources in, as opposed to being torn in multiple directions working on a number of different jobs.
More so than ever, the workload placed on the forester department is enormous, and this 20-member team would go a long way toward alleviating that load.
So we're helping them with three things in particular. The burned area emergency response, which is the immediate response to the most urgent issues that occur after a fire. planning for salvage logging in areas where that would be appropriate, and also with reforestation assessments for areas where the natural regeneration may not be adequate.
In addition, the team will bring a technological component, a computerized evaluation which zeroes in on the areas in most need of work. Specialists have been called in from across the country to help in the landscape recovery effort. Ultimately, the main focus has been on areas posing the greatest risk to human life and property, such as flash flooding.
We're really trying to balance the needs. You know, that there's obviously a need to protect sensitive resources, and there's also a need to be responsive to communities who've been hit hard economically.
Elson says it is important that the community understand that they are continuously working to keep communities safe, and they will continue that effort through the winter and spring months. In Missoula, Russ Thomas, MTN News.
Region's going to be requesting approval for some emergency situation determinations to shorten how long it takes to look at the environmental impacts of fires and allow work on the ground to begin sooner. Well, more light snow may be on the way for western Montana. For a look at what we can expect for the rest of the week, let's turn it over to Aaron Yost in the Storm Tracker Weather Center.
Yeah, things are going to be a little quiet here for the next 24 hours or so, but beyond that, once again, getting a little active. Hamilton today, our First Security Bank iCam, a mix of clouds and sun for some today, a little bit more cloud cover than the blue sky, but hey, it was a dry day after last night's quick moving disturbance rolled through the northern Rockies. Now we are starting to see those clouds continuing to break up, and that will set the stage for some patchy morning fog tomorrow across some of our valleys. With a quiet day expected, our next system will move in Thursday night into Friday, and yet another one coming up this weekend. More details on the way.
When Blue Cross Blue Shield announced in October it was withdrawing from all but 9 Montana counties, it left rural hospitals and patients scrambling to figure out a solution.
MTN's Augusta McDonald reports in Mineral County another provider stepping in to help people who have lost their insurance.
Blue Cross Blue Shield just dropped all of their Medicare Advantage plan patients effective January 1st. Advantage plans are generally considered a better option for people who qualify for Medicare and don't go to the doctor that often. This gave hospitals in 30 Missoula counties just 3 months to contract with another insurance company that would offer Advantage plans to their patients. It hasn't happened yet in Mineral County at Mineral Community Hospital, and patients are having to make some tough decisions.
There was rumors, and then we got a letter, and they were saying that we are no longer going to cover you. And so then we said, okay, now what?
Sue McLeese lost her insurance and is now weighing her options. She's considering Humana, an insurance company that just stepped onto the scene to sell Medicare Advantage plans to people in Mineral County. But Humana does not yet have a contract with the local Mineral Community Hospital. The two are in negotiations with a group of other rural hospitals that were just dropped by Blue Cross Blue Shield. In a statement, Humana says if a Mineral County member is experiencing a true emergency, treatment at any emergency room will be covered at the in-network benefit level under certain conditions. Without a contract, patients are looking at having to drive to Missoula or Polson for the closest in-network care. If people choose to not purchase another Medicare Advantage plan, they do have options. However, the alternatives are not necessarily the most affordable or the best fit for everyone. They could go on to regular Medicare and purchase a supplement along with parts B and D that are recommended.
Your supplements, for most of us, are fairly expensive. I would say $120 to $200 a month. But you don't have your co-pays and things like that. But your Advantage plans have actually covered pretty well for me.
She says the Medicare Advantage plan is less expensive for her. Patients like Sue McLeese have a very short period of time to weigh the costs, the distance, and the coverage options without knowing whether or not they'll be able to go to their local hospital for their care. For MTN News, I'm Augusta McDonald.
Now, the Medicare annual enrollment period is open until December 7th. If you've gotten a letter of coverage termination from someone like Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're eligible for an extended special election that allows you to enroll through the end of February. However, if you want your coverage to start January 1st, you have to make a selection before the end of this year.
Senator Steve Daines says he will now vote yes on that proposed Senate tax cut bill, saying he has secured billions for Main Street businesses. Daines had previously said he would vote no on the bill in its current state, saying he had valid concerns for Montana small businesses, but says after securing $60 billion in tax cuts to those businesses and moving the deductible rate from about 17.5% to 20%, he's much more comfortable with this bill.
There's been some good progress for Main Street businesses in this tax cut bill. I was able to secure more than $60 billion in tax cuts for Main Street businesses. In fact, these Main Street businesses will then be able to provide more jobs and, importantly, higher wages in Montana as well as across the country. I've seen enough progress to vote yes today to move the debate forward to the Senate floor.
The Budget Committee voted to move the bill forward with a straight party line vote, and a vote on the bill is expected tomorrow.
Coming up later in sports, who really does have the influence over choosing the next Grizz head football coach? Derek sits down with former UM athletic director to get some insight.
And it may cost you more to buy that Christmas tree this year, and experts are recommending you don't wait till the last minute. We'll take a look at why still ahead here on KPAX.